All right. So I have heard from. Hello. That's okay. That's okay. I've heard from several of you that the book, I've gotten good reports, and that there's a lot of white and big words. It wasn't near as hard to read as you thought. So I want to take a few minutes and just hear some of your initial thoughts on what you thought as you started the book. Good, bad, indifferent? What were your thoughts?
I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah. Good.
I mean, they laid it out in a fun, you know. Yeah. I mean, that's what I like. It's a good story. It's a good story.
Yes, it's a good story and a funny storyline. You don't. You can comprehend it. It's not like all these business terms that are vague and just out there somewhere, but it's really easy to comprehend and puts it in very simple terms, really. So what we'll do in our time together as we come back and as we read, we are going to just dissect it down and see, okay, how does this apply to us? Okay. So how many of you are highlighters or underline? Like when you're reading, you highlight your book or underline things that stand. Okay, this is our generation. Okay, good. Okay. Who, okay, Brandon does notes on his phone. Who writes stuff, anyone write stuff down on paper? Okay. All right. How else does it stick with you? What do you do? Just curious. Remember? Yeah, that's spoken from youth. There you go. No. Okay.
Sometimes I read it and then listen back to it. It helps me remember if I can hear it.
Yes, if you've read it and then you hear it.
Well, it's kind of like subtitles, you know. I like having subtitles if I'm watching something because I comprehend it better. But I sent Mitchell a text the other day. I was at the gym and just out of curiosity looked up on Spotify and they had it on Spotify.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was listening to it, but I was reading it at the same time, so I could.
Yeah.
If I read a book, I like to read out loud. I'll put the words.
Because that just helps you comprehend, yeah, and retain.
But like if I'm listening to something, I like to put the subtitles on Spotify. It went word for word with what it was.
Yeah.
It was a different character. Yes, it was like Doctor.
I know. That's the best. That is the best.
Richard has it, and I listened to that thing. I can't tell you how many times. I love that CD.
Wait, okay, what CD is it?
It's this one.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, even when I'm listening, when I'm running, I listen to things. And it's so funny how hearing, we all learn in different ways. And auditory is one of the ways I learn. And it's so funny when I'm trying to remember something, it's like I can remember where I was on the road when I heard it. And it helps me go back and find what I want to review. So anyway, so however you took notes, highlighted, remember, wrote it on a separate piece of paper, let's go over that. I'd like to hear from you. What are some of the things that stood out to you?
Having satisfied customers is a revolt waiting to happen.
Oh, yes, the satisfied customer. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. So, yes, satisfied customers and satisfied sheep. One of my favorite quotes I have written down there. He said, normal. He said, people expect bad goods and rude services. Give them junk and they're not surprised. Just what they expected. As long as the abuse isn't any worse than they expected, they'll come back for more. They're not.
It's probably like tenfold now.
Yes. And how many, we lived through this, remember? Like, okay, how many of you remember when COVID first broke out? Okay. Do you remember at first, like when they started to shut down restaurants, when people could not come face to face anymore? I don't know about y'all, but I know at our restaurant, people were so kind. Like when the pandemic first broke out, they were so kind and gracious when they came in. How can we help? They were buying more. They were doing anything they could, to support. And then as it wore on, it was like the angrier they got, And when they came back, I was like, hey, COVID's over, let's be nice. But it's so true. And how much more after the pandemic did we feel it? Honestly, in the restaurants, just trying to get people to come back to work and get people to work. And you couldn't find the staff that were willing to work and certainly deliver Raving Fan service, right? I mean, we're just happy if they would show up, okay? And then while you've got on this hand your employees, then you've got your customers coming in and they're ruder than ever, and then you've got these employees that you're trying to be kind and give Raving Fan service to rude customers. So it was really, really the challenge. But one of the things, what else in the book? Who else remembers something that stood out to you that you really liked?
One of the worst things you can hear is fine and silence.
Yes, learning to listen to the silence, yes.
Well, because, you think about it like sorry to be this way, but if you get in a fight with your wife or, significant other, if she says, that's fine, or she's quiet, you never know what you can fix.
Yes.
Right?
That's my favorite analogy when I taught this for years. I said, if I'm in the kitchen and my husband notices that the dishes are getting slammed around a little louder, the dishwasher's slamming and the cabinet doors are slamming, and he says, well, honey, is everything all right? I say, it's fine. What do I really mean? You better get busy figuring out what you did wrong. Right? It is not fine.
That's the hard part. If you know it, if they say, this is what happened, then you can fix it. If you say it's fine or silence, then
yeah.
I feel like I'm spinning my wheels and I don't know what to do. I'm going to fix her anyway.
Yeah. And we'll focus more on that next week in discovering what the customer wants. But yes, the silence is another way for just fine, just to know there's satisfied sheep, right? Okay. He said, rude is in and smiling's a sin. Cold food, dirty restrooms. I know none of us have these, okay? Cold food, dirty restrooms, late deliveries, rejected parts, a lost order, lazy staff. But they'll just keep coming back for more. So I want you to think of yourself as a customer, okay? We're here thinking about how we deliver service, but I want you to stop and think of the places that you go to as a customer. And I want you to share, I want 2 or 3 of you to share what places you go to as a satisfied sheep rather than a raving fan. But you continue to go back. You'll go back for more. You'll go back for more abuse. You'll just keep going. Well, that's right. It's true. It is. It is. Yeah. Walmart, I think, for everybody. But I will say, when I did this 20 years ago, it used to be a lot worse than it is actually with the self-serve checkout. It's gotten a lot better because you don't have to deal with people. Okay, who else? Think of another place that you go as a satisfied sheep.
I would say really any grocery store, though.
Any grocery store.
And as much as every grocery store except for, used to be grocers when Tony worked there.
Yes.
And it was different. Yeah, it was different. And that's why I would go and you pay higher prices because it's really any.
And I would say so about, huh?
The one in Mount Vernon still is.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. But here in Mount Pleasant, I would agree. And y'all, that's what we have to look to because things change. And that's part of our leadership. That's part of what this group will be about. Because if your restaurant or your business rises and falls on you, then you're not doing your job. Okay? Because if you leave and you haven't raised up a generation to come behind you and carry on excellence, then we're failing as leaders. We should always be looking for and always be training our replacement. Because there's nothing that says, there's no greater compliment for a leader to leave and that business to be able to maintain and grow to the next level. Because that means you've done your job as a leader. But when you get in those situations when everything is based on one person or one employee and they leave, that means that they weren't doing their job as a leader. They weren't developing. They weren't building other leaders, because that's what leaders do. They sow into other people and develop other leaders. So when they move on, the place should run just like it always has. So that's something that ought to challenge us. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about some other things, but before we do, I want to switch things up. We're going to get in 3 tables, but y'all need to know this about me. You're never going to be in the same place when you come in and when you leave, because I'm always going to mix you up and mix the groups up just so we kind of have fun. So what I want everybody to do is make a line across the room, all right, in numerical order, not by the month you were born in, but the day of the month. So Mitchell, you're September 2nd. So you go up there. Is anyone born on the 1st of the month? Okay.
I'm September 9th.
Okay. 1st, yes. Okay. 1st, 2nd, 3, 4, 15. 15, 15, 15. Okay. What? 18. 21.
What month?
December, August, February.
Oh, no. Seventh is down here. All right, is everybody in the right order?
What number? What number are you?
7. Oh, way down here. Okay. All right. Okay, so that table back there is 1. This table is 2, and that table's 3. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so go to your tables. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay. So, like, to move the deal, can I just arrow down to go to the next slide?
I'll go once we break from the room.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just a second. Okay. All right, what Raving Fans really is and what we've talked about is just getting back to the basics of customer service, okay? That's what we're going to start with today, just what are customer service basics. And if you look in your book, I want you to go back, and in your group, I want you to take a look at Varley's department store and Sally's grocery store. Those were both in the sections that we read this week, all right? And as you look through that and look over that as a group, I want y'all to come up. I want you to just share your ideas and write them down, because we're going to share them with the group, on how did they put just good customer service, just basic customer service skills. What do you see in those chapters? Like, okay, so one of the things that I said, at Varley's, they made sure that customers were greeted. Okay, so greeting customers, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for, just simple, basic customer service steps that they put into practice with their teams. Okay, so you're looking at Varley's and Sally's customer service basics. All right, y'all got about, what time is it? Let's give y'all 10 minutes, okay? If you need that long. And one person on the group be your scribe and write it down. So you're going to share with the group, okay?
But all right, I don't know that I'll be able to do that.
Oh, the battery, they had every room ate and vegetables. And welcome to come in. He had a sign up there that said, welcome. Had personal shoppers to help select items. You sit down and go through and make a list and picture it out. Where to find it. Right. That way they didn't have to worry about stuff. And it's like, yes. They would shop for with the correct sizes, colors. Whenever they ask for much, she did that. Because that's what was expected. It was part of their job was to take care of the staff listings, that wasn't just started. To get the speaking involved, or their partners involved, more discerned. Yeah. Of the store, like, yeah.
So, yeah, meeting the needs of
Can we all write this down, or one person gonna write it down?
It's like, is it your buyer? Into the line customer is your customer.
That's next.
Sampling definitely.
Yeah, whereas the manufacturing.
Yeah.
Such an easy.
Mentioned to him that he was reading the same book too. So there's some commonality there.
Well, that's interesting. Well, this book is from a long time ago. Oh, yeah, it's so quick out.
But that was shelf glass. Didn't always know people's names. He made you feel like you didn't understand. Just the way he interacted. Yeah. Everybody. Anyone over there comes from
But they all put the customer first.
Chick-fil-A, I think it was definitely a bigger commercial.
Tell us our task again, we done forgot what it was.
Customer service basics that you saw Sally and Valley's and Barley's and Sally's. Yeah. When you look at their business, how did they just put good customer service basics into practice?
So Artie's was their green
All right, we've got 2 minutes. Y'all got 2 minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, I think today's room, I think we did they said it's far away.
Understanding what your best product was. That's all shrinking farm. Shrinking farm, like this is it's a premium product that you can only.
I think they make it get customer.
Like if I had the chance to introduce you to one product before you went to like this is what it's gonna be.
When what? I'm about to say when what?
Kinda.
It's already there.
I know. All right. Great job, everyone. Good job. All right. Okay, Chris, will you go over here? Will you scribe for me now? Okay, thanks. Okay, so we're going to start in the middle today. We'll start with group 2. All right. And I want you to 2 of the customer service basics that stood out to y'all. Just give us 2.
Sure. So the first 2 we landed on was I wrote it down as never say no, but really what we wanted to say was find a way to yes.
I love that. That was, yes, find a way to a yes. And that is one of the things, when I went to work at Guaranty Bank, that is one of the things that Stan Garrett taught me. And I was so, I had customer service skills, but I was young to that industry. And he trained me and he would say, find a way to get to a yes. And it may not be the exact yes they're looking for, but what can you do to get to a yes? And one of the things that we'll do here later is talk about don't say this, say that, and part of getting to a yes is not saying, no, we don't have that, but say, we do have this, the so-and-so isn't available, and we have so-and-so. So how can you direct them? How can you get to a yes? I like that. Okay, what else, Christian?
And then I thought one of the stronger things we talked about at the very end, we were talking about suggestive selling in the sense of understand what it is you offer, the best thing you offer, and make sure that all of your customers know what that is.
Okay, yes, suggestive selling, yes, or product recommendation even, yes. And I want to add with that product recommendation, and what you're saying is knowing why you're recommending it. Because I think so many times we want to just tell our staff, hey, this is what we need to sell, okay? We have 8 specials left, sell them, okay? But why do they need to sell them? What is it about that product that the customer, why they want to buy it? Okay, good, very good. All right, table 3, give me 2.
I think one of the things that I saw at Sally's was she recognized there were only certain things that she sold, that she couldn't carry everything for everybody, but what she carried, she did, it was the best.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, and I think that goes to product knowledge.
She didn't have a pharmacy.
Product
she was
knowledge.
just a drugstore,
Right.
She was just a grocery store. She didn't have a pharmacy. She didn't have.
Right. She decided what she was going to be good at. She knew her wheelhouse, and she was going to know those products and know how to recommend them. Okay? All right. What else?
Being helpful and going the extra mile.
Okay, being helpful and going the extra mile. And what, tell us, was that with the clerk buying the book? Yeah. And I think, too, that goes back to what Christian said about getting to a yes. We don't have the book, but yes, you can walk out of here with one today. Okay? How can you make that happen for them? And that was above and beyond. How when your customer comes in and you don't have what they want, how can you help them find what they want, even if it's not at your restaurant? And how many times does that help them maintain a relationship with you? I can't tell you how many times that's happened to us at Laura's. They come in and we don't have something that they're necessarily looking for, but because we recommend another restaurant or tell them who does that product well, where they might find it, okay, well, but we're going to stay here. We'll get that next time. Or they'll go do that, but they come back and say, I really appreciated you recommending that place to us. That was good, but we had to come back now because we want to try your food or whatever. So, good. Okay, what about over here, table 1?
I mean, I think it's like, they say a warm welcome. Just how you greet a guest.
Yes.
Into your business.
Yes.
And that says a lot about setting that. It just kind of sets the expectation of the rest of the experience. I think in the restaurant business, that's
a warm greeting and a welcome. Yes. Yes. We have a goal at Laura's of, and we don't always hit it, but that the customer is welcomed between the door and the counter and at the counter, and then that we try to thank them for their business at least 3 times before they leave. So, okay, what else? The warm greeting, that is critical. What that reminds me of is Cheers. When Norm would walk in and everybody'd go, hey, Norm, because why do people don't really want to do business with the business? They want to do business with people. Okay? People don't do business with the bank. People don't do business with the restaurant. People do business with people. And when they come in and you call their name or you welcome them or you say, even I heard lots of conversation about remembering customers' names, which is really hard, but they've been there enough, welcome back. So glad to see you again. At least they know that you know them and that that they've been there before and you remember that they were there before and that mattered. Okay, what else?
Making the customer feel valued.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of the little things that we talked about, Simon, like having carnations pinned on as soon as you come in, the valet parking at the grocery store, just all the little extra things. It's all rooted in making the customer feel like they are valued.
Yes.
Part of the business,
Value the customer, making them feel the value that you have for them. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to add? Okay, I have a little list that I want to get going too. Okay, we talked about greeting. No one said anything about appearance. Okay, but at Varley's, do you remember it talked about how they were dressed and how they looked? And part of the appearance was not just their clothing, it was their smile. Okay, so I would say appearance, and I would say smile and clothing. Those things make impressions. As they talked about exceeding service expectations. What about the bathrooms, the clean bathrooms? Okay. And we're going to talk about, in Raving Fans, we'll talk about the environmental elements, but how every customer's, all of their senses matter when they come in. And if they walk in a dirty bathroom, or, even if it's not smelly, if it doesn't look clean, all of those things speak. Okay. What about in Varley's, where he talked about avoiding offending customers? Do you remember how he talked about why they didn't limit the garments that their people could take and their customers could take? Because, and how many times in restaurants, or not just in restaurants, but in business, do we just set rules? One thing happens, okay? One negative thing happens, and then we go, okay, well, we're going to put a rule in place, okay? And we put the rule in place without really thinking about the effect that it's going to have on the 99 other customers that didn't do it, okay? And what a turnoff that can be. Product recommendations, we talked about that. Product knowledge. What about the first time guide at Sally's? Okay. How many people come into your restaurants, and need our menus? If you have a big menu like at Laura's, I know we have a large menu. Brandon, you're open a restaurant, you're going to have a new menu. And I know at Joe Jack's, y'all have got the board scrolling, but you can just kind of see they're just kind of glazed over. Okay.
And it's hard to read those boards.
It is hard to read the boards, and our menu's even harder. So they need a guide. Is this your first time here? Would you like, and ask them. Part of it is being able to read your customer and know what they need. Do they really want product recommendations, or do they want to be left alone? So how do you offer that to them? I see you're looking at the menu. I'd be happy to recommend a few of my favorites if you'd like to know, or if you have any questions about anything, or if you just need some time to look, I'll step back and leave you alone. You just let me know what you need. Okay? And do you see how that puts the customer in charge? Well, I can tell this person, I just want to look. I can ask them for their recommendations, so it gives them options, but it makes them feel valued, but it also makes them feel like they're in charge of making the decision. Okay. Also, the first time guide too, think about when people ask where your restrooms are, when people ask where they can find this, oh, it's over there. Try what I try to do. We're counter service. Okay. So I know a lot of you aren't, but at a counter service, if it's a customer's, a lot of times I ask people, is this your first time with us? Have you ordered with us before? Because at our restaurant, they need instructions, okay? The drinks are right over there. You can self-serve right here. And after you get your drink, your lids and straws are going to be over here, your silverware, napkins, and there's some to-go boxes underneath, should you need anything to go. And I can do all of that in 30 seconds, all right, and save them from having to come back up and stand at the counter asking where something is or wandering around aimlessly. But I know, yes. How many times have you heard me? We have a number, and if you'll keep your number facing up and out, it'll help us find you as soon as your food comes off the line. Because they're worse about taking the numbers to the table and just setting them down flat, and we can't see the numbers. Okay. And then remembering customer preferences. I told y'all I was going to pick on Jose. I'm going to give him a shout out. We talked about how important it is to know names. Okay, Jose and I may struggle with names, but here's what Jose will do. He goes, you know her. She always orders the stuffed avocado, but she subs this. He knows everybody by their order. It cracks me up. But that means so much when a customer comes in and you remember, are you going to have this again today, or do you want to try something new? Just those basic things. And so I feel like as we launch Raving Fans and as you take it into your different establishments, this is going to be critical, is if we just get back to customer basics. It's customer service basics. They're very simple. It just takes a little training and a little tweaking on the words, and it's all the things that maybe we are thinking about, but how do we get our staff to think about them and think about them in a positive way and see how simple they really are? Leadership, that's right. And it starts, again, what we talked about last week, the tone at the top. It all starts at the top down. And if we aren't delivering that kind of service to them, okay, if they're not seeing us and hearing us deliver that kind of service to the customer, all of this just falls flat. Okay, but when they see us doing that, when they feel, okay, because they don't just need to see it, they need to feel. When they feel that we care about them, and when they feel that we value them, and when they feel like we care about the kind of service that we give them, that we listen to them, okay, when we care enough to be their guide, to guide them through their job, to show them, what to do, how to do it better, when we encourage them when they do it well, all of those things speak. And that's what sets the tone at the top to get it to funnel down. Okay? One of the things that my favorite lines out of the book, I don't know if you remember when Charlie, the fairy godmother, tells the area manager that all good service is a result of nifty systems. I use that line all the time. Don't I, Jose? When we have a service breakdown, or when we have, when something goes wrong with an order, or something goes wrong where we didn't get an invoice to a customer, or where we missed something on an order, when we have to go back and take something, what do I say, Jose? I come back and I say, all right, what system are we going to put in place? I don't point the finger. I don't say who did this, why did it happen. I mean, I may say, okay, let's look at it. Where was the breakdown? Let's look at it to figure out where the breakdown was, because then we can figure out a system to put in place so the breakdown doesn't happen again.
So you focused on the process, not the person.
Yes, always. And how can we help them? Because they obviously need a process. Okay. All right. How many of you remember in the book when the area manager asked Val Varley, how can you afford to do this? Like pin carnations on people and let your people go by, but how can I afford not to? How many of you got that? Okay. How can you afford not to? And what else I really liked about it is he didn't just believe that for himself. All right. He wasn't the only one running around the store doing that. It was the funnel down, right? He set the tone at the top, but then everybody carried it out. So what I want you to do in this next segment, if you'll go to the next slide for me, Christopher, please. We want to talk about how you create a Raving Fans mentality within your team. Okay? Look back at Varley and Sally's and what things did they do to create that Raving Fans mentality in their employees. We know it's one good thing to deliver service, but how did they get them to do it? Okay? So we're going to take about 5 minutes to do that, because then we got to wrap up.
It's usually 2 afternoons. Some of it is.
Training and setting the expectation. Says have vision, live vision.
The question is, how do you see Varley's and Sally's creating a raving fans mentality within their team? What steps do they take to create a raving fans mentality within their groups, within their team?
Well, I think kind of like the carnation made, like kind of investing in like the pants and
She understood that she had the freedom and flexibility to be able to make the customer happy without having to ask them. So she didn't have to ask if she could go buy a book and turn around and sell it. So the exact same price. Here's the problem. The money for that. She just wanted to invest in herself. And she had the freedom to have her way to go. The customer was really happy.
Okay, one more minute, y'all. One more minute. Okay. All right. In the interest of time today, I'm going to tell y'all 3 that stood out to me, and then I want y'all to tell me what else y'all picked up on, okay? Sorry. It's one of my systems. It's time to get the Region 8 order ready for tomorrow. Okay. So the first thing that I have is they encouraged their staff to take the initiative themselves, you know. And I heard y'all talking about that at the table, that the clerk didn't feel like she had to go ask her supervisor or ask Mr. Varley if she could go by the book. She knew that she could do that they encouraged them. If it was going to improve the customer experience, do it, okay? And then the next one was provide feedback. And if you notice, I didn't say provide criticism. I said provide feedback, okay? All staff members, all employees need honest feedback, but they don't need criticism, okay? And feedback takes both sides, okay? And then reward results, okay? You saw that their bonuses were tied to the kind of service they gave. Promotions were given on the type of service they provided. And I want to go back a little bit and say something about provide feedback. I'm going to try to tie these 2 things next together. When I worked at Guaranty and Ty Axton was the CEO, I remember I sent out a Raving Fan huddle topic. You know, I was in a hurry. I was just doing it. You know, it's one of those weeks where you have to get it done. Nothing's really coming, but you've got this group of people that you're responsible for. So I sent it out, and I didn't think all the way through it, okay? And it wasn't a topic that was going to really be beneficial. It would have caused more controversy. It wouldn't have accomplished what Raving Fans is supposed to accomplish. And so he called me and said, hey, I'm going to need you to change that. Of course, I felt terrible. I was just apologizing all over myself. I said, Ty, I'm so sorry. I hate that I've embarrassed you. He said, Suzanne, let me tell you something. He said, I've already made 2 or 3 mistakes today. It was an honest mistake. He said, I'm going to make 5 or 6 more before I go home tonight. Let it go. You know, he never beat me up about it, never made me feel like an idiot.
Because he recognized you already felt that.
But that's part of it. Yes, because he was a good leader. He knew who I was. He knew what my intent was. And a lot of times we assume the worst about, what's your quote, Mitchell? Do not attribute to
ignorance or cover.
Yeah. And a lot of times our employees aren't doing things to irritate us or doing things wrong on purpose. And ignorance is not that they're stupid. Ignorance is that they don't know. Okay? So do not attribute to malice what can be attributed to ignorance. And how are they going to know if you don't give them the feedback and if you don't show them what your expectations are? Okay? And then reward them. So does anyone have anything else they want to add? Because I want to piggyback off that feedback if I can. But I don't want to miss something. If y'all got something great, I want to hear it. Okay. One of the lines that Sally told when Charlie was asking, or the area manager was asking about Charlie and having a fairy godmother and asking Sally about it. And she said, most people don't believe they need help. And if they don't believe they need help, they don't get to meet their fairy godmother. And I want to talk to you about this. This is a passion of mine. That, again, it's one of the things that I learned at my time at Guaranty that helped me more as a leader. There is really just not place for an ego. And ego is a great acronym for edging goodness out. If you want to edge goodness out of your life, if you want to edge goodness out of your team, if you want to edge goodness out of your marriage, if you want to edge goodness out of any relationship, it'll happen through your ego. Okay, I tell my people all the time, we're going to go low. We're going to go low. We're going to take the humble road. We're going to do what we do. Because I believe that it's a principle, when you go low, you get high. Because you're not promoting yourself. and you're not putting yourself above other people. And that's what these leaders did, okay? It wasn't just about their ego. It wasn't about their business. It wasn't about their success. It was about a great organization that benefited their customers and it benefited their employees. And the way that it benefited their customers, they made sure that it benefited their employees. So I just want to challenge you at every interaction you have with your employees as you're going through Raving Fans, okay, to go low. Check your ego at the door, okay, and do your best to build them up. Because as you build them up, guess what? They're going to come up to your level, and some of them are even going to surpass you. You know, one of the people, you know, like I can honestly tell you, like my son, Jose, my job is to make my ceiling their floor because they're the next generation. They're the one that's going to carry it on. And I want them to do better than me. I want them to be better than me because that means I've done my job and I've done it well. Okay? So, when I learned the first secret of Raving Fans, this is Sally talking. I decided what I wanted. Then I went off by myself in my mind's eye and I began to paint what the perfect grocery market would look like. I pictured exactly how the store would serve the customer. It took some time, but it worked. It all worked out. I could see every detail just by closing my eyes. And Brandon, I know you're opening a new restaurant, so you've probably done a lot of this lately. But those of us that have been at the same thing for a while, how long has it been where we've just stopped and dreamed about what could this business really be like? What do I want this business to be like? What legacy do I want to leave for this business? And so as we leave today, I have, oh, yes, thank you. I forgot about my quotes. Okay. These are some of my favorite quotes on dreaming. A dream you dream alone is only a dream. A dream you dream together is reality. Okay. And so today, I want us to begin a new reality of dreaming together of what a Raving Fan business could look like. Okay. And look around the room. Look how different we all are. Think about every restaurant we represent and how different the restaurants are. Okay, it doesn't mean we all have to look alike, but we are all called to our business, to our restaurant. But when's the last time we really stopped and thought, what do I really want this to be? What do I want to pass on? You know, where do I want to build my ceiling to so the person behind me has a better floor? Okay, and then the next one says, a dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. And it's one thing to have these, you know, meetings and to talk about it, but it's another thing to go out and put it in place. And that's what Raving Fans is going to help us to do. It's going to help us be the boots on the ground where we make those dreams become reality. And a step that Mitchell and Christopher and I went through and Richard went through early last year, we started this. And honestly, the sweat and the determination and hard work makes it really hard to sit down and hammer it out. And we haven't gone back to it, but can you put that up? Christopher, do you have it? Yeah. I'm going to give you a worksheet through what we worked through to kind of determine where, you know, we had bought the business. There were some things that were consistent that we wanted to carry on at Laura's, but because it was, we are different people from past owners, there are things that we value that we wanted to make sure that we were adding to the business as well. So we sat down and hammered these things out, and I have a worksheet for you to do that, okay? So as part of your take home this week, I want you to try to set aside some time where you can dream and just dream and start to think through, what do I really want this business to be? What do I really want people to know about our restaurant? Okay, so, and again, we don't really have a lot of time. Maybe we can come back to this next week, but We've drilled down to some slogans. Ours are life is sweeter when shared, share love, share Laura's, serving with goodness and love, and that there's something for everyone around the table at Laura's. Okay? But you do that through developing a mission statement, what your brand promise is, what your brand voice is, and what your unique selling proposition is going to be. Again, you're not going to get this in a week, but it's a starting place. It's the beginning of the dream. Okay, so I want to encourage you to get together with Richard, get together with whoever you need to visit with about this, but start to dream, because we can all get in ruts. We can all get so focused on the everyday that we forget to dream. Okay, so that is what I want us to start doing, is to create some new realities for our business. Let's start dreaming again. Let's start thinking again, and let's have purpose. So we truly are building a generational business. Okay? So I'm going to pass these around, and for next week, if you'll pick up on page 48 where we left off, and we're going to go through page 77, the end of the first paragraph. True. As we say in the restaurant, Demi Loverdad, tell me the truth. How many have already finished the book? How many just went ahead and read it and went, okay? I know. It's okay. That's good. If it's a good read and you can't put it down, that's great. But yeah, so next week we'll read through the first paragraph of page 77, and we'll be back here next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Okay? And hey, I do appreciate your honest feedback. If there's anything that you'd like me to hit on that I'm not hitting on, or things that you'd like me to include, please let me know. All right, I'm open to suggestions. But I'm just excited about this and excited about the potential for all of us. So thank y'all for being here and for listening today. Y'all are awesome. Richard, do you have anything you want to say before we close?
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, thank y'all. Mitchell forgot his stuff.